Welcome to the Global WarWatch Network. India has just taken, a pretty giant leap in missile technology. The Agni Prime has been test-fired from a rail-based mobile launcher under full operational conditions. So the big question is, what does this really mean for India's strategic power and regional security? This launch, it was carried out by the DRDO and the Strategic Forces Command, testing the 2,000-kilometer range missile from this specially designed rail mobile system. And the core question really that emerges from this is, does the integration of this rail mobile Agni Prime fundamentally transform India's credible deterrence, especially its second strike capability? Or is its main significance more limited, strictly to regional modernization and maybe replacing older missiles? I'll be arguing that this capability is a significant force multiplier. It elevates India's strategic profile and fundamentally enhances survivability against any kind of preemptive strike.
And I'm going to maintain a more, let's say, cautious view. While this is certainly a necessary technological upgrade, I see its role primarily as modernizing India's regional deterrence. It's a complementary piece, but not really transformative when you compare it to the existing long-range strategic assets India already has.
Okay, so my position really rests on the technological leap itself and the strategic credibility that comes with it. This successful test, it puts India in a very select group of nations. We're talking Russia, the US, China, maybe North Korea, who are capable of deploying a canisterized launch system from an on-the-move rail network. Now, this isn't just about the hardware. It's about mastering complex logistics, command and control, all necessary to maintain readiness across, a vast civilian infrastructure. And crucially, this system provides a vital layer of second strike assurance. That's really the cornerstone of India's nuclear posture. For anyone perhaps less familiar, the system is canisterized. This means the missile is sealed in its launch tube. The warhead's already mated. That dramatically cuts down pre-launch prep time and protects the weapon. Now combine that with rail mobility, and you drastically enhance the survivability of the deterrent, which is absolutely mandatory given India's declared no first use or NFU doctrine. I mean, if you promise not to strike first, your weapons have to survive an enemy's opening attack to guarantee retaliation. The Agni Prime, I believe, delivers this guarantee. And finally, while I know we'll get into range limitations, the fact is the Agni Prime, with its 1,000 to 2,000 kilometer reach, it comfortably covers all of Pakistan's territory. It adds fresh, highly mobile muscle to the deterrent in that Western theater, strengthening regional stability.
Okay, the technological prestige is high, I grant you that, but prestige alone doesn't automatically translate into strategic transformation if the weapon's reach is, fundamentally limited. I approach this more from a perspective of fleet management. Look, Agni Prime seems primarily designed as a modern replacement for obsolete systems. We're talking about phasing out missiles built decades ago, the shorter-range Agni 1, the older Agni 2, maybe some Prithvi variants. So the Agni Prime's job, as I see it, is to standardize the fleet, leverage modern solid fuel, better guidance. Its primary role is therefore internal modernization, efficiency. My second main point really relates to the strategic context. Yes, the 2,000-kilometer range is certainly sufficient for regional threats, Pakistan specifically. But it's just too short to reach key economic, political, military targets deep inside China's mainland.
And that limitation immediately confines its effectiveness against India's, let's face it, long-term strategic rival. So because of that, it really can't be considered the centerpiece of India's strategic transformation. The Agni Prime has to be viewed as a regional complement. The true long-range strategic asset, that remains the Agni 5. That platform gives you reach over 5,000 kilometers, and critically, it possesses the multiple independently targetable reentry vehicle to MIRV capability, which India successfully tested, you might recall, during Mission Divyastra. The ultimate qualitative strategic transformation hinges on that capability, which the Agni Prime simply doesn't provide.
Okay, I fully concede the point about MIRV on the Agni 5 being, the peak offensive capability. But let's dig a bit deeper into the strategic advantage of mobility on India's railway network. Because this, I think, is where the really game-changing nature of this system lies. Deploying this canisterized system onto India's, nearly 70,000 kilometers of railway track, that provides unparalleled operational flexibility. This huge network allows rapid deployment across the entire country. The missile system doesn't need a dedicated fixed deployment area, unlike, older, more vulnerable silo-based systems. And more importantly, it offers immense natural concealment. Think about the thousands of rail tunnels across India. They effectively function as ready-made, hardened bunkers. So this rapid dispersal, the ability to hide within a highly complex, constantly moving civilian system, it makes detection, tracking, targeting extremely challenging for any adversary using satellites or aerial recon. And that guarantees that necessary second strike.
That's a comprehensive argument for concealment, yes. But we really have to consider the operational realities of integrating a strategic weapon onto a high-traffic civilian rail network. Rail deployment isn't quite as simple as just pulling onto a siding somewhere. It requires specific engineering, logistical constraints, things that impact readiness. For instance, the launch video, it clearly showed a mechanism designed to push aside or maybe lower the overhead electrical wires, the OHE, that power most of India's rail network. Now, that necessity means the system probably can't achieve true on-the-move readiness, right? It needs the train to stop, possibly isolate a track section, deploy this mechanism, then erect and fire. This pre-launch setup, it potentially makes it less reactive, maybe slower, than India's dedicated road mobile launchers, the TELs, which are also being inducted for missiles like the Agni 4. And furthermore, maintaining the operational security of a strategic nuclear asset that's moving frequently, often near populated areas, intertwined with civilian traffic, that introduces unique vulnerabilities, doesn't it? The logistical support needed to keep these systems operational and secure could potentially compromise the very concealment the rail network is supposed to provide. It kind of shifts the surveillance challenge from finding a hidden silo to tracking a huge, heavily secured moving target on very public infrastructure.
That is a valuable counterpoint about the OHE mechanism. Yes, highlighting a necessary operational delay. I accept that. However, the complexity of that pre-launch sequence, I don't think it negates the fundamental advantage of dispersal across thousands of kilometers. Even if it takes, say, a few hours to set up for launch, the adversary still has the immense challenge of finding it in the first place. And that's where the rail network provides a layer of security far beyond what fixed basis or even predictable road routes can offer. The sheer volume of rail traffic and potential hiding spots, I believe, outweighs that minor operational hurdle of the OHE.
Okay, let me pivot back to the technology for a moment because I still think the strategic weight of this platform is maybe being overstated just because it's new and mobile. As I mentioned, Agni Prime does incorporate advanced elements, new composites for lighter weight, better propulsion, much improved guidance systems borrowed from the Agni 5 program. That makes it modern, highly accurate, absolutely. However, it still carries only a single warhead. While Agni Prime modernizes the land-based deterrent fleet, the key measure of strategic transformation, certainly in the 21st century, is MIRV capability. That allows a single missile to hit multiple independent targets. The Agni 5, which we know has tested this, dramatically multiplies India's strike capacity and really complicates any potential enemy missile defense. Agni Prime is a sophisticated single warhead system, yes? It's an incremental improvement in accuracy, readiness, but it's not a revolutionary leap in destructive capacity or strategic complexity compared to the MIRV-capable Agni 5.
I'll acknowledge that MIRV capability is, undeniably the ultimate measure of throw weight and missile defense penetration. That's fair. But I would argue the leap here should be measured in deterrent stability, not just throw weight. The technology in Agni Prime, the advanced guidance, the light composites, it's engineered specifically to improve speed and readiness. For a nation sticking to NFU, guaranteed survivability is possible the greatest strategic gain you can have. If the Agni Prime's rail mobility ensures it survives a hypothetical first strike, thereby guaranteeing massive retaliation, Well, that capability is arguably more strategically valuable than raw destructive power that might be destroyed on the ground before it's even used. The survivability offered by the rail platform is a defensive capability, reinforcing the entire strategic structure. It allows the longer-range MIRV-capable Agni 5s to be used with more confidence, knowing the Western regional theater is covered by a deterrent that's, well, virtually untraceable.
Which brings us neatly back to the strategic purpose, this question of Pakistan versus China.
Exactly, and I think the timing, the range, they underscore the necessity of this regional focus. The Agni Prime is critical precisely because it addresses operational needs in the Western theater, especially given, recent regional tensions. It provides a flexible, quick response weapon essential for maintaining regional stability. By bringing in a highly mobile, ready-to-fire medium-range system, India fills a gap left by older inventory and provides a deterrent that's instantly reactive in a crisis. That's crucial for preventing escalation under that NFU framework.
Right. While the regional requirement is vital, and I don't dispute that, we must keep sight of the overarching strategic balance. The threats posed by major nuclear powers, particularly China, with its rapidly expanding arsenal of long-range ICBMs, that's what defines global strategic stability these days. The Agni 5 is without dispute the mainstay of the anti-China arsenal. So if the Agni Prime cannot reach key strategic targets deep in the Chinese mainland, its contribution to that overarching strategic balance is, well, limited. Limited to freeing up longer-range assets, the Agni 4, the Agni 5, letting them focus exclusively on their intended strategic targets. It's essential modernization, yes. It stabilizes the regional front, I agree, but its strategic weight remains firmly regional. It serves more of a tactical or perhaps operational strategic role rather than shifting the overarching strategic balance. We shouldn't confuse the mastery of mobile launch logistics, which is impressive, with a true shift in the global strategic balance of power.
Well, ultimately, I maintain that the successful, fully operational rail-based launch of Agni Prime marks a definitive advancement in India's nuclear posture. It fundamentally boosts the credibility and survivability of its second strike capability simply by making land-based assets virtually untraceable across this vast civilian network. This operational sophistication, I believe, secures India's place among a select military technological elite and transforms the flexibility of its entire deterrent structure.
I'm still not quite convinced by the transformation argument, because transformation to me implies a real qualitative shift in strategic capacity. Look, the technology is impressive, and the mobility certainly enhances survivability, no doubt about it. But the Agni Prime, at the end of the day, primarily modernizes India's existing regional deterrent. It serves as an essential complement to, not a replacement for, the necessary long-range MIRV-capable platforms needed for true, full-spectrum deterrence against China. The full strategic impact requires appreciating these nuanced, complementary roles within the bigger picture, the overall strategic calculus.
The operational induction of the rail-mobile Agni Prime, it undoubtedly strengthens India's strategic flexibility and survivability, tackling some very difficult operational challenges. And I think analyzing this development through both lenses, regional modernization and global strategic capability, it really illuminates how complex and technologically sophisticated modern nuclear deterrence has become.
It certainly gives us a lot to consider, especially regarding how guaranteed survivability, even with a shorter-range system, might change the calculus of strategic stability in South Asia.
Indeed. Well, thank you for your time and participation today. We encourage everyone listening to share your thoughts in the comment section and join us on social media. The links are provided in the description. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to Global WarWatch Network.